Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, walking into your kitchen, and seeing a small glass jar on the counter with a few loose bills inside. Nothing special, just money you tossed in there without thinking. But imagine that instead of just sitting there, that money had quietly grown overnight. A few cents today, a few more tomorrow, and it keeps doing that whether you're awake or asleep. That simple image is actually how the journey begins for someone who decides they want to stop working in just 7 years. Not in 30 when they're exhausted. Not in 20 when life has already passed them by. 7 years. Most people hear that timeline and immediately reject it. Their mind says it's unrealistic, that it's only possible if you already make a fortune or have some hidden advantage. But the truth is the complete opposite. The real barrier isn't the math. The math is simple. What stops people is the belief that a short timeline demands impossible amounts of money. It doesn't. And once you understand why, the whole idea suddenly feels much more achievable. Before we talk about numbers, we need to define what retiring in 7 years actually means. It doesn't mean luxury or private islands. It means having your basic expenses covered without needing a job. So imagine you look through your recent bank statements and see your usual monthly costs. Groceries, rent, fuel, utilities, subscriptions, the small things you barely remember buying. Maybe it adds up to around $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Let's call it $3,000. That's $36,000 a year. If you want your investments to pay that for you, you need a portfolio that can reliably generate $36,000 every year. Using a common 4% withdrawal rate, that means you need around $900,000 invested. Most people stop right there. $900,000 in 7 years sounds impossible. But that reaction comes from thinking in 40-year retirement logic, the slow system built for slow savings. A 7-year plan is completely different. It's built on higher contributions, sharper focus, and letting compounding work at full speed. Compounding doesn't care how old you are or how long you've been investing. It only cares about two things: how much you put in and how consistently you put it in. Give it tiny amounts and it grows slowly. Give it meaningful amounts, even for a short period, and the results start accelerating much faster than you expect. This is why the tools you choose matter. Savings accounts barely keep up with inflation. Bonds move slowly. Real estate can work, but it adds complexity and risk. Broad market index funds, on the other hand, have historically returned around 7% after inflation over long periods. That 7% is where compounding becomes powerful. With consistent monthly investing, your money starts building on itself, and each year's growth becomes stronger than the last. So let's get to the part everyone wants to know. How much do you actually need to invest each month? If you put in $2,000 per month, after 7 years you might end up around $200,000. At $3,000 per month, maybe around $300,000. At $4,000, maybe close to $400,000. Still not $900,000, and that's where most people quit mentally. But they miss the point. You don't start at your final number. Your contributions rise as your income rises. Your dividends reinvest. The market gives you good years and bad years, and sometimes a single strong year can accelerate your net worth faster than the first 2 years combined. The real threshold, the number the 7-year plan is built on, is growing your contributions until you're consistently investing between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. That's the range where the plan becomes realistic. Not $500, not $1,000. Real, deliberate investing. And the way you get there is by increasing your income, not by starving yourself. You learn higher value skills, you switch jobs, you negotiate raises, you build a side income. Another thing people overlook is psychology. When you're investing for 7 years instead of 40, volatility becomes your friend. When the market drops, your fixed monthly investment buys more shares at cheaper prices. When the market recovers, those cheap shares multiply your returns. And by the last few years of your journey, your portfolio is finally large enough for the market to do the heavy lifting. There's a moment where your investments grow more in a single year than you contribute. That's the tipping point, the moment where the machine takes over. To reach that point, you have to shift your identity. You have to become someone who prefers long-term freedom over short-term impulse, someone who protects their energy, their income, and their focus. When that shift happens, investing $3,000 to $4,000 a month stops feeling impossible and starts feeling like the smartest thing you've ever done. Because you're not losing that money. You're buying back your time. So imagine yourself 7 years from now. It's a normal weekday morning. You wake up, sunlight coming in, and you're not rushing anywhere. No boss, no alarms, no stress. Your investments covered today's expenses, and they'll cover tomorrow's too. That version of your life is real. It exists on the other side of 7 years of focus and consistency. Retiring in 7 years isn't magic. It's math, discipline, and behavior. Invest around $3,000 to $4,000 a month, keep increasing your income, stay consistent during market ups and downs, and refuse to drift through life on autopilot. The question isn't whether it's possible. The question is whether you'll start now while you still can. Thanks for watching InvestingFlix, where smart money learns smarter moves. Subscribe for more insights that grow your wealth.